I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Comedy Factory Comedy Chat. Got a very special guest tonight, great friend of mine. He started out in Boston and Providence Radio. Then he went out and lived in Hollywood for 10 years. He headlined Vegas. He's a gifted impressionist. He used to tour all around the country, did such clubs as the Ice House, the Improv, the Comedy Store, Funny Bone. He's been on Comedy Central. He had his own show on Nesson. He's got a show going now, Late Night New England. Very funny guy. Give it up for my good friend, Mike Petit. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
John. Hi, John. Good evening. Wow, it's thank you for having me on. And I myself, I'm wearing my COVID face, and you have your COVID shirt on tonight. And right back at you, John. We've known each other for years, and this is what we do, John. We like to make people laugh, even when they try to take away our livelihood. We stay positive and focused, and as comedians, our job is to take the, typically some unfortunate situations and try to spin it and make something that's somewhat humorous for people to laugh at. So, thanks for having me on here. And yeah, we are right now in the middle of a New England thunderstorm and rain, and it's just it's very interesting. 2020.
Yeah, and so what radio station did you work at, Mike, back in the day?
Well, I worked at BCN in the Rock of Boston for a little while. Then I worked at 94.5 WZO. No, I worked at 94.5 WZLU, the morning zoo. Hey, everybody, we're giving away free tickets. I'll take the 10th caller. Hey, who wants to go to Duran Duran? Hey, and then I actually worked at Pro FM for a little while. I grew up in Attleboro, and that was a great experience. Remember, there in the 80s and 90s, HJY had Carolyn Fox, the shock jock.
Yeah, I was on her show one time, getting interviewed about a fundraiser we were doing. She was really cool. I liked her a lot.
Remember the time, John, she shut the city of Providence down?
Yeah. I went to a club one night. She was the guest bartender. Back in the days when they had happy hour, 2-for-1s from like 8 to 9 when you could really drink, and she was the guest bartender, Carolyn Fox. Yeah.
You remember happy hours?
I remember everything.
I don't remember everything, but I remember the happy hours. Yeah. So I started in radio. Thank you for quite the build up there, but I'm very fortunate. I don't know how I do it. I'm an impressionist, and there's some amazing, talented people out there, and that's just my niche. I like to entertain. Can always do the standard impressions. The Jack Nicholson and all that kind of stuff. But it's just something where I realized at a young age that I could, you have resonance in your voice, and people say, what are you talking about? You have resonance. Now, you have resonance in your head. You have people occupying your brain, but there's resonance in your throat. So when I started in radio, I was a sidekick. Knock at the door, character would come in with sound effects. On the phone, it would be, it could be, I could be Johnny Carson could be calling in and saying, good evening. We have Mr. John Perrotta from the Rhode Island Comedy Factory. So I realized, John, that I could really incorporate the facial expressions and then do impressions. And I always remember years ago starting off with Charlie Hall down at Periwinkle's. That was the first time I ever stepped on stage, was at Periwinkle's, and Charlie was so nice and so kind, and it was just one of those things. I was like shaking, and I had notes written down on a napkin. This was probably 1987, 88, with Ed the Machine Regine and kind of the Providence comedy scene those days.
Yeah, wow. What did you do? You remember when you first went up? Did you do some impressions, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I think it was like it was like Rocky, and I could do Rocky and Rocky, women weaken legs, Rocky. Rocky, you should be home sleeping, getting some rest. I'm gonna give you a good fight, Rocky. I'm sure you're gonna give us a great fight. So, and people, people enjoyed it. The funny thing is, as you start, out in comedy, and now as you look back, you always want to know how to close and get off the stage, whether you're doing 15 minutes, 25, or 45, whatever you're doing. Comedy's like sex. You want to close strong. Nowadays, I usually get the pat on the back and say, that's a wrap. But so I didn't really know, as you start off when you're young, you just kind of went up there and, hey, will you accept me? Do you like my silly little voices, my impressions? And then obviously, just like any job, any occupation, hopefully you adapt, you learn, you modify, you tweak, and you continue to grow. And it's just been, hasn't been easy. I'm not going to paint some picture. This is a very difficult business to work in. If you don't like rejection, if you don't have tough skin, you probably should go, do something else for a living, but in any business, it's very competitive, and it's just something where you know what I'm talking about, John. This is, it's a very, very tough business.
A lot of politics in the business. Some clubs book you, some don't, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of drive you crazy if you let it,
Yeah, you can't be attached to that, because I learned years ago, most people's issues have nothing to do with you. It's just one of those things. You play the game, you get spots, you get work, but for the most part, if you're funny, you're funny, and if you do a good job and act like a professional and do your work, do your homework, and go home just after your set, you want to hang out for a little while, that's cool, but just do your job. And that's where I've been at for a long time. It's, hire me on my talents, and I don't really listen to what people say behind my back. I don't worry about those things, because no matter what you do, people are going to say things. Just do what you do. Our job is to make people entertain, make people forget about life for a little while, some escapism. That's what comedy is. Whether it's you're an impressionist, whether you do crowd work, whether you play guitar, people show up to be entertained. And it's that simple. All the other fluff and all the other whatever's going on, it's just when they call your name and you hit that stage, you better deliver the goods and do your homework. The other thing is there's nothing original. People think they're splitting atoms out there. There's nothing new. There's nothing original. There's nothing. Oh, you're gonna talk about pot? Oh, okay. You're gonna talk about sex, sports. I mean, every once in a while, somebody will put a twist on things, but for the most part, it's setup, premise, punchline, tag, and have a couple callbacks. You know what I mean? Have a couple callbacks. People like the callbacks. Oh, he did that earlier in the show. Oh. But
what are some of the impressions that your favorite ones? What do you like to
do? Coughing. Well, everybody loves Joe Pesci. I do. I actually kind of get like Joe Pesci every once in a while when I play golf. But Ray Liotta, excuse me, Ray Liotta is the best, because Ray Liotta is like, whenever we wanted, we just picked up the phone and we got it. It was that simple. We were good fellas. And then when he comes in with the Christmas tree, Karen, I got the biggest Christmas tree, Karen. And then she's got the gun over his head when he's sleeping. Who does that? Karen, I gotta kill you, Karen. That's all the coke we had, Karen. So it's that, those types of impressions. Yes, you can do the other ones, but I like to do the kooky ones. That one, of course, you got a little, there's a little, a little Judge Smedel from Caddyshack, huh, John? Huh? You still my friend, John Perrotta from the Comedy Factory. John, we're having a little get-together this weekend at the Yacht Club. How would you like to mow my lawn? So, hey, I made Johnny Perrotta laugh. So that's what I do. And as an impressionist, you want to continue to be fresh and stay on top of what the impressions and what the voices are. Funny story, I played in a golf tournament 7, 10, 15, 20 years ago with Ray Romano, and I'd never met Ray before. And I got to go. I was nervous. and I'm reading the rider for the event, and it says, have a good time. It's for a good charity. And Ray doesn't like mayonnaise because they said some things, and I was like, what does that mean? So we went to the golf tournament. I got to play, got to meet Ray, sign an autograph with him, all that fun stuff. And then they had a big event, big to do. You switch up into your suit, like a nice little presentable suit. And then the caterer put out potato salad, and Ray went nuts. He's like, no, I don't want the mayonnaise. Get it out of here now. Oh, I don't like it. Been out in the sun all day. Get it out of here. So I leaned in and I says, Raymond, everybody likes a little potato salad. All it is potatoes that come from the ground. Gobble, gobble, Raymond. So, John, if you turn Ray Romano down, it's actually Billy Crystal. Look, I'm doing a Zoom meeting with John Perrotta. I love John Perrotta. This guy, he makes me laugh. He does comedy. He does it all. That's what he does. I'm getting married. I'm not going to do it. So
I love Ray Romano, Billy Crystal. Those guys are good.
Billy Crystal was the best. I'm not going to do it. I'm getting married. I'm not going to do it. He says he'd like to meet you. I'm not going to do it. No. So comedy is subjective, John, as you know. This is our business, and funny is funny. Funny is funny, and funny has always been funny. And it's a true art form, and people, I think we're out of the I'm sensitive, I'm offended stuff. I don't talk politics. I don't talk religion. I always say I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain you. I'm not here to stir the pot or stand on my milk crate and pound my chest. I'm not trying to, piss people off, and I'm not angry. I'm an entertainer. And if you want to just sit and laugh and have some drinks and be entertained, that's what I enjoy doing.
Right. I stay away from the politics and religion, stuff like that. It's, you get into that, and you open up a can of worms. I mean,
look, John, I like a lot of worms. Some worms are good, some worms not so good. There's a lot of worms out there, John. Incredibly good worms. Some worms catch fish. Some people don't like fish. I like fish. I like a lot of fish. You know what? There was a day when Johnny Carson used to be able to make fun of, Jimmy Carter and Ford golfing, and it's just such a heightened sensitivity now, and I blame it for the push button activation of the social media and that kind of stuff. People are just the fake book. Everybody's got an opinion, and if they generate enough, it's just people have lost their ability to just laugh and join in on a little bit of a laugh.
Yeah, a lot of people take things a little too serious.
Always remember, it's just business, man. That's all it is. Once you make them laugh, John, you got them right where you want them, man. Once you get the ha-ha, the he, ha, he, ha, hoo-ha. Once you do that, John, you got the power, man. You got it all, man. That's what you do in Rhode Island, man, because you ain't no cockroach, Johnny, You do a good job, man.
That was a good one, man. That was a good one.
I do that all the time when I go up to a coffee shop. Good morning. Welcome to Honeydew. Could I take your order? How you doing? Yeah. Let's have some coffee. Okay. I don't know. Do I go black or do I get it with sugar? Let me have a large Al Pacino. Hoo-ha.
You must drive him crazy when you do that. You do that.
You know what? I always hear him go, it's him again. He's back. It's that guy again doing the voices. John, that's the thing, you just you make people laugh even when you don't this is a true story. Happened a couple months ago. I just thought of it now. I'm walking the dog early in the morning. I see my neighbor, young guy. We talk Patriots all the time. And, comedy is right in front of you. You don't realize it, but typically things are right in front of you. And we're talking Patriots. It was really cold out. It was like a weird March day. It was really cold. And he said, "Have a good day." And I meant to say, "You too." And I looked at him and I went, "Too good." Like Kramer. I was like, "Too good." So another one that I like to do is George. I got it all. I love it. I'm on Zoom. The sky's the limit, baby. I'm doing Zoom with John Perrotta. I got it all. I'm
Crazy, man.
I'm not. You know what, John? I'm proud to say, and I'm proud to say, this. I'm actually sober 30 years, and I'm very heavily involved in the addiction program. I'm actually a public speaker. A lot of people don't know this, but I work for Recovery Centers of America, and it's really very fortunate. You have to love what you do. And I was presented with this opportunity to go and speak as an entertainer. They bring me as an entertainer, and then I have a story that I tell them. It's called "Been There, Done That." And it really works nice. I do like 10, 15 minutes of comedy impressions, and I got them right where I want them. And then I say, you like this? I've been doing this for about 33 years, 29, 28, 29, 30 sober, and you could hear a pin drop. And it really means a lot to me. It's nice to be able to stand, have a presence, make an impact, share your story, and still get to tell jokes and do entertainment. So I get even right now I'm getting chills thinking about it, because there's a lot of shit going on, man. People got crap. Everybody's got crap in life. And if you don't, well, you got more problems than we do. When you can look and say, "Hey, man, I got some demons. I got to work on some shit." My thing was, I was a troubled young man. I was a troubled young Irish man. I don't have a problem with drinking, but every time I drink, I got a problem. And so, and it's kind of, it's the old trappings of being in the business. And you can find the crap anywhere, but it's the old comedy days with the cocaine, it's in the back room, man. You're staying in a condo in, let's just say, Des Moines, Iowa. There's nothing to do. Tuesday through Sunday, 2 shows a night. Yeah, that's the old days of comedy. The funny bones, the comedy bones. What's that?
Trouble. You got a lot of trouble.
So, it was just being on the road, being young and having a hell of a good time. So yeah, I enjoy doing what we do. And, I'm grateful for someone like yourself that you basically have moved into you're a professional booker, and you do events, and you provide an opportunity for entertainers to get up on stage. So quick credit to you, John. You don't realize what you do. There's not a lot of people who can do it and do it right.
Yeah, I've enjoyed my time. I think when I started out, all the clubs closed. I came in at the end of the boom. So it was like, we started our own comedy nights, and little by little, I started putting shows together, and really didn't know what I was doing, Mike. And had to learn through the years,
Sure.
Went up with some pretty good rooms over the years, and had some great shows. Had a lot of fun.
And you met a lot of great people along the way. And, it's just one of those things. It's always business. Just remember that. Everything, it's all business. It's nothing personal.
I remember meeting you back at Stitches around 2003, 2004. You came into Stitches, and I don't know if you had just moved back in the area, or I forget. Right. Yeah, and I met you then. That's when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah. Stitchers. Jeff Weinswig, a brilliant surgeon, decided to open up a club inside the Providence Place Mall, and that's a guy who really, really did a nice job. Unfortunately, didn't survive, but that was a great venue. That was a great platform to do stand up.
Yeah, we had a couple of good years there, but it was too bad it didn't work out.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm New England based now, John. Every once in a while, I get a little corporate gig when the COVID is not, putting the thumb on us. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I book a few shows myself. During the day, I do some marketing. I do voiceover work. I enjoy doing voiceover work. I could sit at my home studio with a microphone and bang out one-liners, and it's a very interesting business world now. Obviously, as you know, with social media and that whole opportunity to build your own network, like like you're doing with the Zoom and the Comedy Factory.
You had I figured with the COVID going on, a lot of comics are doing Zoom stuff and podcasts, and so I just said, hey, why don't we do a Zoom thing and get some different friends of mine on that are in the business. We can talk, put it on. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, you do a nice job. It's just I've had my own TV show on Nessun. Very, very, very difficult to do. I did a thing called pay to play, and if people don't know what pay to play is you have to bring in a demo of a program, and it has to be approved by the network. And then if they like it, they look at you and they say, great, we have Sunday nights at 8:30. It's $2,000 an episode, 20 episodes. Do you have $40,000? So took me almost 10 years to finally fail. I didn't get there by winning. I got there by failing. And if you can understand that process, as a producer, you're also out there doing what you have to do. I was the salesperson selling sponsorships. I was pitching the show. I was wearing all these different hats, and I got it on the network, and it was really an amazing experience, actually overwhelming. This man cave where I'm at right now used to serve as my studio. I'll kind of show my man cave real quick. Can you see that?
Yeah. Wow.
That's
great.
That's my man cave. That used to serve as a studio for Grill Seekers TV, which was a food/reality show where we seeked out the fire, the food, the fun, and the flames across New England. It wasn't just about food. It was about the backstory on the restaurant, the pitch and putt in the back. It was with Bill Lee from the Red Sox in Vermont and Sean Thornton from the Bruins and Mohegan Sun and JetBlue. So we had a great run. Unfortunately, the bottom fell out with the sponsorship, and I couldn't do it myself, but I learned so much, which I'm grateful for. Not so grateful at the time because it was 80 hours a week, but I had a gentleman who I found on Craigslist. His name is Greg Dole. Literally, Greg used to sleep on a couch over here. I'd feed him eggs in the morning, and he'd drink Red Bull all night, and he would edit the TV show up. And they have a thing called the deliverable. You need to have a deliverable tape that you would bring. We would ingest it to a company in Boston. They would do closed captioning. There was one guy that had a machine, Bob Silvestri. We drop ship it to him. He would do the closed captioning. He would bring it to Nessun, and the next day it would be on the air.
Wow.
It's insane. My point was, Greg Dole took the footage from my TV show, and he edited it up. I gave him full rights. He's now been like the head editor at Phantom Gourmet for the past 8 years.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. So he always says, you know what, man? And that's when you get to a certain level in the industry, and you do the same thing, John. You can help people out, man. You can help people out. You can share a little bit of knowledge and some wisdom and some experience and say, don't do this, avoid this. Nobody wants to hear it, but that's okay. I didn't want to hear it when I was young, but there are those comics out there that do get it, that are packaging themselves, that are branding themselves, that are doing the legwork, that have the Instagram accounts, that are following the Facebook, that are doing quick videos. And those are the guys that will succeed because the networks do look at that now. They check your social media. They want to see what you're doing, what you're following. When I lived in LA, you go in to read for a TV show, they would have a group study. I'm telling you right now, that's what they would have. They would have a focus group. They'd have a focus group. A focus group would watch the pilot of the TV show, and they would decide if it was funny or not. Yeah. So it's a very interesting business. The business is west. and the business is, you know, in New York. It's still, that's what a business is, you know?
Oh yeah.
I
You
still
gotta-
have, I'm sorry?
most of the guys, a lot of the guys I know that had made it went to New York, went to LA. You know, Bob Marley, Bill Burr,
Yep.
Dane Cook, all those guys.
Yep.
They went to New York, LA, and that's where they made it from.
Sure. Yeah. I used to work with all those guys. I never worked with Dane Cook, but Marley and yeah, it's just one of, and Burr, and it's great. I basically, myself personally, I learned a lot, and I always say my dreams never changed. My priorities did. I own a home. I've lived here. I live in Plainville. I grew up in Attleboro, and I'm okay. Winters are tough, but I can always jet set back to LA and go back and forth, which I do a couple of times a year. But it's just one of the, and I still have great friends out in LA that are still grinding it out, and it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. You have to enjoy. I mean, I lived on Coldwater Canyon. Here's a fun one for you. Lived on Coldwater Canyon. 8 o'clock in the morning. Here comes Jay Leno in his Roadster, one of his many cars, coming down Coldwater Canyon. He's going to the Burbank Studios, which is the next town over, to go. Well, he's going to do the he's going to do the Tonight Show. You know, he's going to tape it. I think he was eating some Doritos too. I don't know, but I saw his chin. I could see his chin coming all the way down. But if you've never gone to LA, John, I'm telling you, you should go just to go experience it. It's crazy. It's a great town. 99.9% of the actors and comedians are not earning a living. It's just, I'm so amazing. That's great. Table 5 needs water. I laughed.
It's tough to make it out there. It's tough to make it out there. Oh yeah.
It's just, and I grinded it out, and it was brutal. It's tough. Development deals, Comedy Central stuff, had a contract with Saturday Night Live. They can't. It's the business. It's the business. That's the way it is. Timing. It's just, it's the business. You know.
You had a lot of possible things, and someone didn't pan out.
So they don't work out, and that's okay. I mean, here's a fun story, which never stopped me. 1995, I just moved out to LA. I love this. This isn't a woe is me. This is just life experiences, because I'm happy, having a great time, making money and doing what I do. I send out cassettes. There's your time reference. I send out cassettes to all the agents in town. Boom. I get a call back to go in for an audition through an agent. I go in for the agency, Abrams Artist. I go in, and they now represent me. I signed the contract. I'm on Sunset Boulevard. Woohoo! Like a month later, I get an audition for Space Jam, Looney Tunes. So I go in, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. Those are the two ones I went in for. 2 days later, I get a call back. And if comics don't know what that is, they should. That's when they ask you to come back in and read again. So it goes like playoffs. You may start off with 50 voice artists. Now it's 25. I got 4 callbacks, and it came down between me and a guy who had a cartoon named Billy West, who I used to go head-to-head with in Boston radio years ago. He had a cartoon called Red and Stimpy. And I'm in the studio with Ivan Reitman. He's like, Michael, try it this way. Michael, try it this way. I'm like, of course, I'm open. Throw me the ball. That's ludicrous. I don't know, like, why I didn't get the part, but I did. Of course you didn't get the part. It's because you're pulling your goddamn tail.
So you went for Space Jam. Oh man.
So I never looked back at it, because it was an incredible. The process was you want to talk about crazy, John? The process of I think pagers had just come out. I'd get a page from my agent, 310. I was like, oh my God, you know, there was no cell phones, it was pagers. So yeah, this is the business, John. We make people laugh for a living. That's what we do. And it's just, I always say, I joke about it on stage. This is plan B.
Yeah.
Let me give you my Venmo, right? Why did you start doing comedy?
Why did I start doing comedy?
Yeah.
Way back, I was always the class clown in high school. I was in detention all through high school,
Sure.
always making people laugh. And then I went in the Navy, making them guys laugh for 4 years, having a good time. We were partying, traveling all over, went to 25 countries and did some crazy things everywhere I went.
Sure.
I was known as kind of crazy. And I got out, and people always said, you got to try comedy, you got to try comedy. I think I was 25. Actually, I tell a story. My first time on stage was at a rehab. I was at a rehab in Newport, Rhode Island, and they had a talent show. So I decided to write up a bit, and I got up before a full auditorium of people in recovery like myself, and everybody laughed, and I had a great set. That was my first time on stage.
Did you just show up there, or were you staying there?
I was a resident. They told me you better go there for 30 days. I went for 30 days. I did the talent show, and then I wound up at Periwinkles a couple of years later. Got the Periwinkles. Yeah.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up to the stage the comedy stylings. You've probably seen him in the cafeteria. He really enjoys arts and crafts, and he's really fully participating in our group effort to deal with society.
That's what. So I was already ready for comedy, man. So then I went to Periwinkles. I told you I did really well. I bombed twice. I quit for 8 years, and I came back in '91. That's when I came back. So I've been doing it ever since. Close to 30 years now.
Wow, you took 8 years off.
8 years. I said, I can't do this. It was hard. And instead of sticking with it, I wish somebody kind of took me into their wing, and but none of that happened, and I just kind of walked away. And then in '91, went to the Comedy Connection, saw a comic from Boston, Jonathan Katz, and I said, he was great. I said, I got to try this again,
Sure.
And then I took a comedy course, and I've been doing it ever since. But it hasn't been easy, a lot of ups and downs for, the first bunch of years. You can't give up. That's what I tell all the new comics. If you love this and you have a passion for it, don't give up. Just keep getting up, keep getting on stage, and you'll get better. You either get better or you'll get out, I guess,
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I really like when someone asks the question, so are you still doing that little comedy thing? Yeah. Do you still sit in a cubicle and sit 9 to 5? Answering the phone? You do that? Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm so glad I retired. I had a job for 36 years. I retired.
Sure.
And the first 2 years before the pandemic hit, I was in heaven. I was doing tons of shows. Everything was going great. And my daughter got married last year. It just was a great year last year. The comedy was busy. I was like, this is going to be great, this retirement thing. And all of a sudden, the pandemic hit, and it's been unbelievable. You know what I mean? So I'll be glad when this thing, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, but eventually, hopefully they find a vaccine and we can get back the way it was,
It's crazy. Well, this too shall pass, and we're just in that brief pause right now, and up is down, left is right, sky is falling, the grass is blue. Everything is just different right now, and again, I can't say enough. Thank you for having me on here. What you're doing, you're making a difference. People like to laugh a little bit, and I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of my backstory, and we do some jokes. That's what we do, and of course some cowbell. I got a favor, and his name is John Perrotta. Your father, the watch. So yeah, just that's it, buddy. I mean, had a couple Zoom comedy gigs this weekend, and not this weekend, this past week, and they're slowly starting to come in, and just enjoying the good weather here. And we only got that small window here in New England of like a month where the weather is actually right.
I know, right?
Before you know it, it's going to be Labor Day. The next day after Labor Day, everything looks different. The lights are different. The sun is different. It's just, I don't know. So it's part of being from New England.
I saw you had something on earlier today. You did Austin Powers. I thought that was really funny.
Austin Powers, man, I don't know who you're talking about, baby, but yeah, baby. You like a little Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, you know, he's just that Shagga Magic Man, baby. He likes to make it happen, baby. those those movies are so funny. They're so just you just have to just suspend reality, just laugh a little bit because it's just that's not my penis pump, baby. Don't know where that came from. You know?
I love Austin Powers, man. All the movies. Yeah.
Of course you do, John. That's what you do because you're crazy, right? You're a little crazy. We're all a little crazy. That's the thing. Either come into the business crazy or the business is going to make you crazy. I come in crazy. Now it's just business. It's all business. And I'm working on a couple projects right now. Obviously, nothing's happening for deals or pitches to pitch to networks and production companies. But I'm working on a couple projects right here. One here locally in New England, which I'll mention. I had you on, which I appreciate, Late Night New England. I've moved into hosting, and it's a variety show. And this is just what I'm doing. I enjoy doing it. It's a lifestyle. There's no overnight success. You have to enjoy doing what you do. And that's what I'm doing. I'm producing this show. It's Late Night New England. If anybody wants to inquire on it, bands, musicians, comedians, sketch, man on the street interviews, any of that kind of stuff. That's what it's about. It's just like the Tonight Show. That's what it is. And it was created in 2011. I actually did a little pilot, which I still have. And it sat for a few years because, you know, you get a little complacent. But I dusted it off in 2018, and I enjoy doing it. We tape once a month, and it's fun. It's fun.
I had a blast being on there. I had a blast. It was a great time.
Oh, yeah. I got to ask you, sauce or gravy?
Yeah. I told you, Mike, just give me the meatballs. I don't care. You could put the sauce. You could put gravy on it. I don't get into the debate. I just eat the meatballs.
I just eat the meatballs. I'm telling you, you should have been in The Sopranos. You should be in The Sopranos, you know?
I wish Frank Santarelli was on The Sopranos. I wish I was on The Sopranos.
Of course. We should just do one called The Hill. The Hill. Johnny P. The Hill. But yeah, you're I appreciate you're a good guy, John, and that's what it is when you've been around a long time. You just kind of, you know, you do what you do, and not everybody's going to like you. That's cool. I know who my friends are. I know who good people are. But more importantly, it's about getting on stage and making people laugh and being a true professional. Work your craft. Do your homework. Do your homework. Do your packaging. Do your branding. Do your marketing. Because if you're sitting around for somebody else to do it, it just doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. You ask any actor or successful producer or actor in the business or comedian, the auditions that they get, the opportunities that they create is because they busted their balls, they hustled, they networked, they knocked on doors, and they kept in touch with people. That's how it happens. And you have to be a good person because they've all been around. Everybody's been around. They don't want the crap. They don't want the bullshit. When you get to a certain level, you rise above the fray. And the bottom feeders of the business, well, that's okay. But you do a good job and keep your nose clean and just make people laugh. That's all. I'm not trying to get preachy. That's what I try to do. You know.
When I'm on stage and I'm you're having that great set and you're making people laugh. There's nothing like it in the world. It's one of the greatest high I've ever had when you're up there and it's hitting. All the jokes are hitting. You know, the crowd work, whatever the impressions, whatever you're doing.
Yep.
It's hitting. You know, and you got the crowd. It's just there's nothing like it. What a feeling. What a feeling.
Pure gold. It's infectious, highly addictive. Anybody who's been on stage, when they got that magic going back and forth, when you got the crowd, laughing, and then you have that pause, and you're going to hit them with another one, and it's coming because you've done your homework, you're set. And even if it's not just your set, you have some improv, and when you hit that mark, there's just pure magic. It is literally, when people come up to you after the show, what I really enjoy, when people come up and they say, I really needed that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a good feeling when people come up to you after, like, back before this happened, people come up and shake your hand. And a lot of my dinner shows, I'd stand by the door and shake people's hands when they left and thank them for coming. And they'd thank you for, hey, it was a great show. They enjoyed the show, the different comics in the show. And it made you feel good. It was a good feeling, I miss that. I miss that. I miss being in the comedy scene. I miss the shows. Some of the shows are coming back, but overall, they said, I don't really think it's going to be back the way we had it until there's a vaccine.
Well, I know this much. You miss all that. I also know you miss your Red Sox.
Oh, I miss the Red Sox too. Yeah.
So I'll leave you with this, Johnny P. Hi, everyone. It's Joe Castiglione as we're here with the Comedy Factory and John Perrotta. Can you believe it? Here comes. This will make you feel good, Johnny. You're never going to grow tired of hearing. There's a ground ball back to Keith Falk. He underhands it over to Mikavich, and the Red Sox have won baseball's World Series for the first time in 86 years. Can you believe it?
I remember when the ball went under Buckner's legs. I was on the floor waiting for that they were going to win it. And I wound up meeting Buckner at the Providence Civic Center at a Special Olympics fundraiser years later. And I actually got a picture with him and autograph. And I said, you know what, Bill? I said, you had an awesome career. He almost had 3,000 hits.
Sure.
I think he batted close to 300. He was close to being a Hall of Famer. And that one play, the poor guy, he wound up passing away a couple of years back. But he had an awesome career, Bill Buckner. It was that one play. They wound up forgiving him later on. The fans, he came out to Fenway. But it was that one play that for years it kind of haunted him. It was too bad. But thank God they won a few World Series.
I think we got 4. It's crazy because I'm sitting in my chair. This was actually where I sat to watch games 6 and 7 against the Yankees. I was actually very fortunate to go to games 2, 3, and 4 at Fenway. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I'll never forget it. I went on the Saturday night. They lost like 19, whatever it was, 19-5. We left, and I got to go on Sunday night, and with Dave Roberts and the stolen base, and it was just it's insanity. It's hard to think it was 16 years ago. I do remember though in 07 when they were in the World Series, people kind of like, oh yeah, there's the Red Sox are in the World Series again. You know what? I don't know. Do you remember? People were very kind of like,
no big deal.
I might have a few. I don't know. Maybe I might watch a little Jeopardy, go back and forth. Maybe we'll see. But I'll share this much with you. When I lived in LA, I used to go to the Dodgers games, and I also used to go to the Angels Red Sox games. It was amazing. You go to the Angels games, 3/4 of it were Red Sox fans. They would overpower and dominate the stadium. Let's go Reds! It was just insane because the LA people, the fans, would show up in the 4th inning and then leave in the 9th inning to go to their plastic surgeon. I
was out in LA in the 80s I went out for a couple of weeks. I went LA, San Francisco. I saw the Oakland A's play the Anaheim Angels. Reggie Jackson was on. Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, I think they were all there. Right. And then I went over and saw a San Francisco Giants game, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We are. One thing about living in New England is we are spoiled brats. We know everything about everything in sports, and if you don't believe it, we'll tell you. But I live a stone's throw away from Foxborough. I used to go to Sullivan Stadium, and sit on an aluminum stand and drink, and they were 2 and 12, whatever they were, and you had to go to the game if you wanted to watch it because it was blacked out. Remember? There wasn't enough. Sure. So that's how fortunate we are to have all of these incredibly, it's not the Bruins, it's the Sox, the Patriots. We are so spoiled, So I'm going to leave you with another impression that I love to do that will be for all of our New England fans. Yes, Tom Brady, we owe you nothing. You are the GOAT. You will always be the GOAT. We will miss Gronk. We will miss Gronk. But in Bill we trust. I like John. He's a good guy. Does Perrotta. In John Perrotta we trust, the Comedy Factory. Thank you so much for having me on, my friend. You're a good man.
Hey, Mike, thanks for coming on, buddy. You're hilarious, man. You're a funny guy, man.
Unequivocally, John, I appreciate it because tonight we are all patriots.
Robert Kraft.
God bless. God bless.
Stay healthy, Mike. Stay healthy.
Cleanly wiped and disinfected. Thank you, John.
All right, brother.